I want you to hold the tongue to the roof of your mouth the entire time, and also hold the Hu-Yen point contraction throughout this entire procedure this time as well. Okay?
Question about the arms.
Yeah, it doesn't matter.
Doesn't matter.
We're just practicing. It's just
well, I'm
procedural.
talking for the actual thing.
Well, of course, for the actual thing.
Peak if necessary.
Okay. Is everyone ready? Let's have the people in the chairs actually put their hands up to their heart chakras this time. Begin by tracing a serpent of fire down the person's back, beginning with the arc halfway across the head, and with the spiral part of it ending up at the base of the spine. Now guide it in, as I showed you to do, saying its name 3 times. When I say guide, I just guide it in by stepping forward and kind of moving it in with my hands. And I visualize it very strongly up the client's back. Serpent of fire, serpent of fire, serpent of fire. Okay? Now place your hands on the person's head. And this is the point at which you're raising their vibration to yours, kind of gaining an energetic equilibrium between you two so that the process goes much more fluidly. Now, you're going to do the violet breath. So contract your Hu-Yen point, touch the tongue to the roof of your mouth, just behind your front teeth. Inhale through your mouth, white light energy down through your crown chakra, down the front channel, up the back channel, holding your breath, visualizing it turning cobalt blue, then violet, then becoming a violet vortex with the Tibetan master symbol in the middle of it. Now when you have that visualization, open your hands on the top of the person's head like barn doors and exhale that energy and the symbol into the crown chakra. And then immediately after you're finished exhaling, grab the symbol with your symbol tracing hand and bring it down through the crown chakra, daikomyo, through the middle of the head, daikomyo, and plant it in the base of the brain, daikomyo, leaving your hand at the position in the base of the brain, building up a very strong visualization of it being there until you know that it's there to stay. Now bring your hand back above the top of the person's head and trace the Usui master symbol out above the top of the head. And at this point, I usually have my hand there. That's good. And then after you've got it traced out, guide it down through the crown chakra, daikomyo, through the middle of the brain, daikomyo, and plant it in the base of the brain. All right, you got it. Thanks for watching up there. Now, the next thing that we're going to be doing, taking your hand off the back of the person's neck, touching them on their left shoulder, signifying them to raise their hands above their head. Then above the top of their hands, trace out a choku rei. Guide the choku rei down through the hands, choku rei, through the crown chakra, choku rei, planting it in the base of the brain, choku rei. And usually with my other hand, what I'm doing at this point is holding their hands. Yeah. So I usually kind of cup it and cup just the front part of their hands is usually the way that I do it. Yeah, just like that. Now do the same thing with the Seihei Ki. Trace a Seihei Ki out above the top of the hands, guide it down through the hands, Seihei Ki, through the crown chakra, Seihei Ki, and plant it in the base of the brain, Seihei Ki. And now again with the Hanshaze Shonin. Trace out a Hanshaze Shonin above the top of the hands, guide it down through the hands, Hanshaze Shonin, through the crown chakra, Hanshaze Shonin, and plant it in the base of the brain, Hanshaze Shonin. Now move your hands and place your hands around theirs again and guide them down to in front of the heart chakra. And move around front. And once you're around front, place your non-symbol tracing hands underneath their hands and open their hands like a book on top of the non-symbol tracing hand, as I showed you. Then take your symbol tracing hand and on top of their hands, in the space above their hands, trace a choku rei. And when you've traced it out, guide it into the hands, lightly touching their hands 3 times, saying the symbol's name each time. So choku rei, touch, choku rei, touch, choku rei, touch. And then the last time you say the choku rei and guide it in, leave your hand down on top of theirs and build up a very strong visualization of the symbol actually planted into the hands, until you know that it's there to stay. And then do the same thing with Seiheki. Trace a Seiheki out above the top of the hands and guide it down into the hands. Seiheki, touch, Seiheki, touch, Seiheki, touch, and leave your hand there, building up a very strong visualization of the Seiheki planted into their hands. And then again with Hanshaze Shonin. Trace a Hanshaze Shonin out above the top of their hands, guide it down into their hands, Hanshaze Shonin, again Hanshaze Shonin, and into their hands for a 3rd time, Hanshaze Shonin. This time leaving your hands on touching theirs lightly and building up a very strong visualization of the symbol there until you know that it's there to stay. You're giving me more confidence in you by the moment. Now, in front of the 3rd eye, leaving the hands open, take your symbol tracing hand and trace out a choku rei and guide it in 3 times, choku rei, choku rei, choku rei. Building up a very strong visualization of it being there. And then again with the Seiheki.
Do you touch the person or doesn't it help?
You can. I usually don't because if you touch them, usually they're in a very deep state, and that's a very tender place to touch them. So the jerk, will bring them back up out of state.
What about the hands?
I do touch the hands, but just very lightly. And then a Hanshaze Shonin. Now, close their hands up. Make them parallel again with the heart chakra. Maintaining contact with their hands, bend down, and this is where you're going to do the breath. You do the breath into the hands, then down, up, down, hands. So hands, down, up, down, hands. One slow, fluid breath. All right. Very good. A little practice, that's all it takes.
Lots.
Now, I have you maintain your hands around theirs and continue touching until that vortex stabilizes, and so your hands will be tingly, hot, however you usually feel them. Then at some point that sensation will dissipate, and so move around back after that sensation is dissipated, and place your hands on the person's shoulders. through their crown chakra, all the way to the root, visualizing it as a fiery ball of red energy. And plant the following affirmation there, 3 times, with strong intent. You are a successful and confident Reiki 2nd degree healer. Now slide your thumbs together at the base of the spine, or at the base of the brain, top of the spine, where you planted the symbols. Visualize a choku-rei in between your thumbs and the back of the person's neck. In white light, a white light choku-rei, very, very strongly. Now do a sealing affirmation, and again, this is mine. You can change it. At this time, or I now seal, this 2nd degree attunement perfectly and completely in every way with divine love and light, and release you to the universe as a successful and confident Reiki 2nd degree healer. Again, continuing to build up a very strong visualization of that white light choku-rei until you know that they are sealed off from you and tapped into the current permanently. Now slide your hands back out to the shoulders and do your thank yous. Thank everyone who helped you out. And then when you're ready, move around front and release the Hui-yen point on the tongue of the roof of your mouth by taking an inhale. And on the exhale, release the Hui-yen point on the tongue of the roof of your mouth, sending the energy out of your hands and intending it as a blessing for the client. All right? Very good. Considerably better than that chaotic earlier
They
time.
can put their hands down at this point.
Then they can put their hands down. That's the end of the attunement procedure. Now remain seated, everybody, and again move around back. You have this procedure down well enough that I'm going to walk you through a master attunement. Okay? Again, we're going to pick it up at the point where you have just finished your empowerment process and your invocative prayer, and you've communicated to all of those who are going to help you that you are doing a master teacher level attunement. All right, I think we're waiting for one person to get out of the restroom here. The differences here are several. First of all, at every position you'll be planting all 6 symbols. You'll be planting the Tibetan Daikomyo, you'll be planting Serpent of Fire, the Usui-Daikomyo, Choku-rei, Seiheki, and Hansha-Zeishin. Also, you'll be bringing the person's hands up much sooner, almost at the beginning of the attunement itself. And you'll be guiding down all of the symbols through the hands and planting them into the base of the brain that way. Okay? Okay, here's your other partner.
You say the middle of the head, start with the serpent of fire, and then on that back. I know.
Okay. Let's begin. And then we'll take a break after this, I promise. A brief break. And then the next thing that we'll do is we'll watch the Sai Baba video from Kathleen Motion. Okay. Begin by tracing a serpent of fire down the person's back in the way that you did last. And then guiding it in and saying its name 3 times, building up a very strong visualization of it being there. You're everywhere. Now, place your hands on the person's head and meditate to gain briefly meditate to gain an energetic rapport with them. Raise their vibration. Establish a link. When you've done so, you reach down and you touch the person on their left shoulder, and that's the signal for them to raise their hands up above their head. Again, in a normal attunement situation, you would have told them to have their hands waiting for you at their heart chakra, but we're going to be nice to these people since their arms have been up an awful lot. Now, place your hands around them, around their hands, and if you were watching me, I do it like this. I place my hands like this, because what you're going to do is actually you haven't seen this from me, have you? You're going to do the violet breath into the hands, okay? So, in the same way that you'd open the barn doors on the top of the head, well, these are your barn doors for this attunement. You open your hands like this, and you'll do the violet breath into the fingertips, into the top of the fingers, and then you'll guide that Tibetan master symbol down through the hands, Daikomyo, through the crown chakra, Daikomyo, and plant it in the base of the brain, Daikomyo. Okay? So let's go ahead and do the violet breath. Contract your Hu-Yen point, touch the tongue to the roof of your mouth. Inhale, energy, white light, down through your crown chakra, through the front channel of your body, up the back channel of your body. Seeing it form in your head as a white mist, then changing to blue, then changing to violet, then a violet vortex with the Tibetan master symbol in it. And when you're ready, open your hands, and exhale the energy and the symbol into the tips of the person's fingers. And immediately after you're done exhaling, guide the symbol down through the hands, Daikomyo, through the crown chakra, Daikomyo, and plant it in the base of the brain, Daikomyo. Okay, very good. Very good. You have some tired arms in the back. If you'd like, you can rest your hands on top of your head. I mean, that is perfectly okay. Now, above the top of the hands, trace a serpent of fire. Guide the serpent of fire down through the hands, saying its name, serpent of fire, through the crown chakra, saying its name, serpent of fire, and plant it in the base of the brain, saying its name for a third and final time. Again, building up a very strong visualization of it being there until you know that it's there to stay.